creativity can come from different things, ultimately, like the people that I love or the people that inspire me or the city that I live in. I'm Jonathan Anderson, and I am the creative director of J.W. Anderson and the Weve. We are here in Waterman to look at an exhibition that I have done called On Foot, and this idea of walking from my studio into central London, this idea of London as a kind of color palette or a mood board or something that emotionally affects you. Painters like Francis Bacon, Freud even, it drew people in, I mean, of all different walks of life. The room that we're in right now is just like sort of like the playground. We have Richard Hawkins in here, we have Lowry, probably one of the greatest British painters, and I think really encapsulates this idea of people in the landscape or people having conversation. I like this idea of the collage of found images and painted and how you can reconfigure things. Well, I was looking at this idea of the skateboard and how they become these sort of like youth identifiers. I was very into this idea of something which had irony to it, and we came up with this idea of turning a pigeon into a clutch. And then we had like Anthea Hamilton do a new take on them. When you get used to a city or when you get used to things, and then they kind of dissolve, they kind of vanish, and sometimes you have to kind of pull them back out to kind of realize that they're still there. These are parts of a city. There's the park, the roundabout. You know, this room, for example, for me was this idea of like flowers at roundabouts or flowers on pubs. When I think of pubs, I always think of red. I wanted this room to be circular. We have the mirror, ball dress in the middle. I like this idea that it is a duplicator. It is like, is it the security mirror? Is it a reflection of yourself with the portraits? You have all these different kind of conversations that can happen, lines across or lines with yourself, or you see reflections within it. It is about the eye contact or the lack of eye contact. And I think in this room, you get this moment of people looking at you or at the same time, people looking away from you. When I came to open the J.W. Anderson store, it had to be on a corner and it had to be in Soho. I think naturally I've always been obsessed by this idea that when you go to a city, no matter in the world, there is this magnet towards a Soho. There's always this idea to nightlife or the social. And in Soho, I always think is quite interesting at night is to look up at buildings. There's always something happening. Why do we make stuff? For me, it's about being able to unveil somehow or take the curtain down of like why I do things. Every time I'm in London, I see something I've never seen. And I think this exhibition is about that. It's just about getting up in the morning and why the city gives you something back and how it's given back and created some of the greatest art in history.